So, welcome everyone. Let us take a moment of silence to bring the mind back home in the body before we start. So, last time we were reading this question and mother's response to it. Sweet mother, when one sees an illness coming, how can one stop it? So, we had touched upon the first two things that mother says. First of all, you must not want it. Second condition is to call the light a light of equilibrium. And I think now we have to read something more. So this first, not to be want to ill, and then not to be afraid of illness. Yeah, this all we had touched upon. I think it would be nice to just maybe read it again so that we can now take up the last paragraph today. So who would like to read maybe the whole of it, the question and mother's response? Anyone?
Yeah, I
I
Radhaji,
will
are
read.
you going? Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet mother, when one sees an illness coming, how can one stop it? Ah, first of all, you must not want it, and nothing in the body must want it. You must have a very strong will not to be ill. This is the first condition. The second condition is to call the light a light of equilibrium, a light of peace, quietude, and balance, and push it into all the cells of the body, enjoying them not to be afraid, because that is the second condition. First, not to want to be ill, and then not to be afraid of illness. You must neither attract it nor tremble. You must not want illness at all, but it must not be because of fear that you do not want it. You must not be afraid. You must have a calm certitude and complete trust in the power of the grace to shelter you from everything, and then think of something else, not be concerned about not to be concerned about it any longer. When you have done these two things, refusing the illness with all your will and infusing a confidence which completely eliminates fear in the cells of the body.
Sharda ji, you muted. Huh.
Oh, sorry.
So maybe you can read from when you have done these two things from here.
Yeah. When you have done these two things, refusing the illness with all your will and infusing a confidence which completely eliminates fear in the cells of the body, and then occupied yourself with something else, not thinking anymore about the illness, forgetting that it exists. If you know how to do that, you may even be a contact with people who have contagious disease, and yet you do not catch them. But you must know how to do it. Many people say, "Oh no, I'm not afraid." They have no fear in the mind. Their mind is not afraid. It is strong. It has no fear. But the body trembles and they don't know it because it is in the cells of the body that the trembling goes on. It trembles with a terrible anxiety, and this is what attracts the illness. It is there that you must put the force and the quietude of a perfect peace and an absolute trust in the grace. And then sometimes you have to drive away with a similar force in your thought all suggestions that after all, the physical world is full of illness and these are contagious. And because you were in contact with someone who is ill, you are sure to catch it. And then that inner methods are not powerful enough to act on the physical and all kinds of stupidities which the air is full of. These are collective suggestions. Everyone passes from one to another. Beautiful. And Monica, just now I thought this is, not only for illness, even for fear of something else, not only for fear of illness. That is what I'm resonating with.
Yeah.
Because, just now I'm going through something, my mind was, as you always say, it just puts chain one after other, one after other. So, so this is, very suitable for that also for my mental condition. I was, fear of, I'm scared of something. So then immediately I started calling mama just before the class, just before the session. So it's really beautiful. It is not only for illness, fear of illness, it is for everything, any
Very true.
fear. Maybe we should drive away this fear and bring, try to bring the force, others' force. Thank you
True,
so
very
much.
true. Yeah.
Really, mother answered my my calling. Yeah. See, each time she answers, each time we forget. But at least,
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think just to first come to what you were sharing and then picking up the last passage here, starting from many people say, "Oh no, I am not afraid." We'll take it up from here. But I was listening to something and it said that how from time to time, that's why they say that it's very good to have certain discipline. है ना? कुछ भी हो, it's not doesn't need to be a very big thing happening in your life. A very minute discipline which you continue, as Jetsunma says, कि 2 minutes every day, 2 minutes every day. And if it's continuous, because what happens with us from time to time is that now all of us so far have read, all of us have touched upon the aspect that we have to disentangle from our surface consciousness. This is not something new. We have read it umpteen number of times with Mother, with Sri Aurobindo directly in Synthesis of Yoga, where he says, witness, witness, again and again, detaching. But what happens is, as you rightly said, that we forget. And knowing that we forget, to have a discipline where I don't give it a second thought that I have to sit and do the disentanglement from the surface consciousness, which always is materializing something or the other. Fear, ambition, greed, attachment, expectation, as if these are all happenings in the surface consciousness. But then we also know that we have also a witnessing consciousness, like what Jetsunma uses the metaphor of an open sky. That there is a vast open sky, and in that many birds are fluttering their wings and clouds are passing by and all kind of happenings are there. But what happens is that we oftentimes we forget the sky behind the happenings. And whenever I am engrossed totally in the happenings in the sky, fear, like you said, fear, thoughts of fear, the feelings of jealousy, ambition, whatever, expectation from people around us, insecurities, anxieties about future, these are all happenings in the vast open sky of my presence of awareness. But how meditation helps here, or how detaching helps here, is that the moment I step back even for 2 minutes, you will see that it's an instant relief that I get. Instant relief. मतलब उसके लिए आपको कोई, you don't have to do it for 3 days and then you have the relief. There is instant relief when I detach myself from the happenings in the consciousness. जिसको Sri Aurobindo, he says Prakriti, and also there is Purusha who is the witness. So this, I feel that that's why masters have said to have a discipline in life, because without discipline we again lose ourselves in the drama, again lose ourselves in the drama, again lose ourselves in the drama, because discipline is not there. And if discipline is there, at least for 2 minutes whenever I sit, during the day or whatever, then I realize the importance of this disentanglement, because the relief I feel knowing that these happenings will remain as long as I have body. Like, we can't imagine at the moment, I can't imagine in my consciousness that I will be rid of fear very soon. No. But I can know that I am the one who is looking at the fear. I am the one who is looking at the insecurities. So Jetsunma says that it's good to see that there is a difference between thinking and knowing that I am thinking. I know that I am thinking, so there is a witness present. And when I'm just engrossed in thinking, there is no one watching that I'm thinking. I'm just thinking. And just a little bit of difference, and you have that, what Sri Aurobindo refers to as cleavage. He says, uses the word cleavage, that you detach, you disentangle the witness and the happenings. So I think that really brings a lot of shift in perspective also, and it makes me like I can live with the pain and the turmoil of life, knowing that these are all dramas that will happen from time to time, and yet I have to stabilize myself in the witnessing consciousness. They are not it, they are just happenings in the space that I provide. Because otherwise, when we are losing ourselves too much and the cleavage is not there, the witness is totally absent, then I've seen that it just overwhelms too much. But in the other moments, when I'm able to, with the presence of grace, make that inner cleavage, then it becomes tolerable even in the presence of pain. Pain is there, turmoil is there, unresolved questions are there, everything is there, but you are also there. Like sky is there and the clouds are also there. But we often forget the sky, that presence of sky is there behind the clouds. So to again and again bring my attention to that consciousness which is watching, knowing that the thinking is going on. Like somebody asks me, how are you? At times I have no answer to the question, because I have been, I'm seeing that, oh my God, something is in turmoil. So what question, if I ask this, if I answer this question from the presence of consciousness, all good. But if I answer this question from the drama point, oh my God, I can't even answer that. So it's very, again, as mother says, that to see this drama happening within the circus happening within, it's very good to be just observing. चाहे fear भी है, what you were referring to, है ना, fear is there. So just as a witness, you are, yeah, looking at the fear. Something had happened and we had gone to a doctor regarding one of the kids, and I could see that frustration rising up, that if somebody gives you a negative perspective, in the sense that doctor said that, oh, maybe this has to be done, right? Now, of course, for a kid, you would not want any that kind of an intervention. Immediately you see, not even wantingly, you have not wanted it, but you see the frustration rising up, as if, how could I not prevent this? So you're angry and shouting at each other or whatever, it just comes. But you see it, and the best we can do it, that it arises and we let it pass. We are not drowned in it. Whenever we can do it, at times we drown in it, but to see that these are present, I think it's good to see these happenings, because they keep us very grounded that we are all in progress. And yeah, it's a long journey still ahead.
Yeah, Monica, one thing I observed with myself.
Hmm.
So whenever I see this fear or frustration or anger, in myself, so once, I just let that feeling. It's okay. We'll see what is happening. So maybe I was not I was not aware that I'm getting angry or I'm fearful. But at the end of, after 10 or 15 minutes, I felt that I've become bitter. It was not very easy to control my anger or frustration. Whoever talks to me, I just yell. So if we are able to see maybe 1 or 2 minutes, within 1 or 2 minutes, we'll be able to call the mother, or whatever. We can ask the light to come. We can pray, or whichever way we want to come out of that situation. This also, in these 2 days, I felt.
Yeah,
I
very true.
could see that.
Hmm.
If I'm unconscious, I'm there. I'm there for half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour also.
Hmm.
But if just now it happened, we went out, we wanted to buy something for, provisions and something. And so many people were there in that shop.
Hmm.
I was, I went first and I was keeping asking, please give, please give. And that person was too busy giving others. And within that 2 minutes, I got frustrated, irritated. Then I could see myself. Why am I like this? Why not? I can use this, use this 2 minutes to call the mother,
Yeah.
or to watch my breath.
Hmm.
Difficult, but still, there was a lot of crowd. I thought, let me try on myself. So I was not agitated. I was just waiting. Inwardly, I was just watching. That one person, he has to give for everyone. So why can't you wait? That 2 minutes, became, very easy for me to stand there. This is very, normal day-to-day life
No, but
situation I'm
it's,
saying.
of course, but these are what we have to, all life is yoga, Here is what all has to trickle in. Otherwise, what's the point? Yes.
And,
Totally.
after that, something happened. I was so fearful, and my husband was saying something, and I didn't react because, it choked my throat. I was so scared. Then I thought, no, let me not get scared. Let me call mama, mama. Within, as you rightly say, within 2 minutes, that fear is gone. It is there, but, for that moment, it gave me some relief.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is there, that's, you remember the line that we read last time in Savitri, there was a line, atomic looked the things that loomed so large. So the things have not disappeared,
Yeah.
but they look now little, what earlier they were having like a big form.
So in a way, it is very interesting to see how many times we get scared, how many times we get angry, how many times we get irritated.
True, true.
So useful to,
Yes.
step back and see, but so many times we don't.
Hmm.
Maybe as continuous practice, it should come.
Yes, yes.
Otherwise, there is no use of attending all these sessions, keeping on attending and,
Hmm.
behave as if, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for all your,
Nothing, yeah, it's mother's, yeah, all mother's words and grace. Actually, I remember that in prayers and meditation, we had read one of the prayers, maybe lately only, where she has said that, let me be constantly be aware of this, that high state. So this is what you were sharing, in glimpses, all of us at times have good experiences in glimpses, and more often than not, we have curtains in front, And very less often it happens that the curtain is away and there is relaxed ease and peace and certitude and everything. And she is now praying what you just actually aspired for, that let me be in this state constantly. Now, this is what we all are striving for. That gyan, agyan, in ignorance and at times in light. This happens with each one of us. But how to have that continued state of light and with lesser and lesser degrees of that curtain of ignorance in front. This is what we all are striving for. But we have to know that, as Mother uses the word perseverance. And all these experiences that we have, even of darkness, are very important because they are the ones, they tell us that abhi kya bacha hai, what is remaining. They are the ones which bring me back on ground. That, oh, mera nahi hua abhi, I am left. Right? So it's very grounding, these experiences. I personally feel that whenever these things happen to me, it always it really grounds me very much. And also it helps me empathize that this is what all of us, the whole humankind, is suffering with, the malady of mind. You can be, and Jatsunma was sharing in one of the talks, that you can be outwardly in a beautiful condition. People will say, what's wrong with you? Like, you have a good family, all money is there, good food, you're healthy, yet the mind is not quiet. You have emotional turmoils. So such misery we live in, we human beings, because of untamed mind. And when we observe this in our own self, the malady of our mind, the misery that mind brings, it helps me to empathize with, oh my God, all of us are suffering with such misery. Think about it. So we empathize more, like you were standing in that ration store. And the moment you notice your own state of mind, it can come to you, oh my God, thousands of us, similar condition. So we become more empathetic then and less judgmental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the same thought came to me because, maybe 10 years back, we were not so matured to understand the other's reaction. If somebody yells, then we'll also try to yell. But now it is not so. He is in some, she is in some disturbance. That is why she is yelling. At least this much of knowledge is trying to come. It does not come fully. At least at times we are able to see. It's really beautiful. So how much to work on ourselves, no?
Lifetime employment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything more? Anyone here on what we were talking of right now before we go ahead to the last paragraph? Okay, so let's take this up. So many people say, oh no, I am not afraid. They have no fear in the mind. Their mind is not afraid, it is strong, it has no fear, but the body trembles and they don't know it because it is in the cells of the body that the trembling goes on. It trembles with a terrible anxiety, and this is what attracts the illness. It is there that you must put the force and the quietude of a perfect peace and absolute trust in grace, in the grace. And then sometimes you have to drive away with a similar force in your thought all suggestions that, after all, the physical world is full of illnesses and these are contagious, and because you were in contact with someone who is ill, you are sure to catch it. And then that inner methods are not powerful enough to act on the physical, and all kinds of stupidities which the air is full of. These are collective suggestions. Everyone passes from one to another. So let us see the first half of it. I personally remember one experience where I had this trembling in the cells. that on the top it felt that I'm not afraid, and I could feel the fear in the body. So if anyone, some of us had that experience, I would like you to connect with that experience, that mentally you are saying that no, it doesn't matter, come what may. And you truly mean it. It's not that you are hypocrite, but the body is trembling with fear. I've seen this happen with me. And it is there that the work lies, of transformation. That the moment I see that trembling in the cells of the body, that's where I know that the work has to be done. So it's at a subconscious level, or even at the physical level, that the fear is implanted. So it's good because whenever we see that trembling in the cells, and if we are conscious enough to see it, we can actually begin to work upon it. So it's very good raw material for work. ये अभी काम पूरा नहीं हुआ है. We have to still go on working. And that's why we hear, even in the heroic heart, we read again and again that all the difficult situations can become such a wonderful raw material for the path, because they tell us ki where I am lacking right now.
Sorry, Monica, where I'm lacking?
Where I'm lacking, yeah, where I can even further improvise. Because when things are good, like for example, I don't get a diagnostic test done, you know or everything is hunky dory, I can say, oh, I am fearless, nothing to be afraid of. The moment a test gets done and the values are up and down, I have seen that you see your body trembling. Now and mind, you were totally sure that nothing, I am perfectly fine, but the body is afraid. So at the subconscious level, that certitude in divine faith that nothing can happen to me if not for the divine, if the divine doesn't want, and if the divine wants, I'm ready to go through it. That certitude has to be kind of pushed, as mother says, injected into the cells. So if all of us can recognize this cellular fear and one can work on it, I think it's a very good employment for us. It's good to work with ourselves like that. Yeah, anything more here? Anyone?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. No, I was thinking about this, and it's hard for me to imagine how you do that work, like how you infuse this confidence in a part of our consciousness that we are not aware of. Uh, yeah, that I'm not very sure how to do that work. Mm.
I think first of all, we have to try it. And when we try with ourselves, we actually, for our own self, we find our individual way to work with it. So for each person, it would be different. Some similarities may be there, but the question that I don't even know how does it happen, for that I have to be very interested in the experiment itself. That much is enough. For example, if a child asks, I don't know how to play with fire, or I don't know how to experiment with a matchstick and a box, matchbox, what will the parent or the person, teacher say? That you have to try it. You may burn your hand, but that's okay. All of us burn our hand from time to time. You have to just show the child, maybe, that from here you hold it, and if you hold it like that, the flame goes up your hand, it can burn your finger. So you hold it horizontally and you throw it as soon as the fire, it starts to come close to you. So a little bit of technical details, of course, can be shared, but the process for each person, I feel, would be very different. And I have to be really willing and interested in this experiment, to work with the body, the cellular consciousness, that okay, today at night, before I go to bed, I'm going to try this. Let me see. What's the harm? I mean, we can't lose anything. It's not even fire. So it's a very win-win situation here. At the best, you will just explore your being and maybe get to know new things about your being. Or maybe you will know what doesn't work, or maybe we find even at the first go what works. And in the next sitting we realize, no, the last thing that worked did not work right now, so maybe another thing has to be experimented. So it's just like the experiment itself of working with the body consciousness. I think that intention is just enough to give it a start.
Yes, yes. The will, the aspiration. Yeah. Some time ago, I remember I prayed to Mother, like I knew I had for many years, like been thinking about, having fear of illness, or what may happen, and making formations, mental formations, that of course, they, once you have made them and reinforced them, they are around you and doing harm. So I asked Mother, like, I don't know how to dissolve these formations I made for so many times, so much time. So please help me. You can do this? Please, help me dissolve these formations. And I guess what I felt I had to do after that was to have confidence in that, and stop at least consciously thinking about this, like, and trusting that Mother will take care. Mhm. Thank you, Mother.
Yeah, thank you. I think even what you were sharing, even a little bit of aspiration, like a dot of aspiration, if it has come to your being that one day I would like to know how to work with what you were sharing, for example, body consciousness. I think that is, we don't realize the power of it, because I've seen it happening. There were, times where the moment I look at lines of Savitri few years ago, it felt that how would I ever understand this? But one day I would like to understand it. That aspiration came up and I had no clue how. And it's not that we understand right now, but at least we are in touch with it, more closer touch than ever. So, and now if I look back at that stage where I felt it in the hands and I knew that it is something very unique and elite and powerful, but I have no clue, it's Greek and Latin to me. So I realized that even that confused aspiration was enough to give us experiences that led us to Savitri, and our unique, for each his own, unfolding of Savitri in their own life. So yeah, I think we don't know the power of even this pinpoint of aspiration, because that is how everything starts, right? With these little seeds. And masters have said that just like we have seeds of knowledge in us, we also have seeds of ignorance in us. And at any point of time, due to the causes and conditions, one or the other will flower. And that is why the importance of taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, for example. Because it helps flower those seeds which are beneficial, and slowly the other impressions will kind of fade away. So seeds are always there, and this aspiration that I don't know yet how to do it, but I would want to know one day how to do it. I think that is a very good start. And then, of course, we have our individual experiments. So, yes, thank you. Anything more here, anyone?
I think just to add on to this, and the fact that now I have been told that it can be done, right? Like if say mother is saying, or if say I read the story of say the perfect masters, anything, like if I've seen somebody do it, so no, because a lot of times we want, we aspire, we desire, and there's something in me which says I'm not sure, right? Like, yeah, they're saying maybe, or I'm not sure. It seems like a possibility, but a very minute possibility. But if I'm sitting next to you, for example, and I say, "Okay, absolutely, this is the way," then that gives me a push, right? That, oh, this is the way. Okay, then I can also work on it. Maybe I can try. It becomes more real. So I think for me, when I feel that, okay, this is my possibility. I mean, I don't know if I reach it, but yes, for sure, that possibility of me becoming that or leaving that or transcending this thing is real. And it's true, right? Possibility is there. I do or not do, that doesn't matter. So something in me shifts, like it becomes real, and then it's part of my life. Right now, it's just a mystical thing flying in the air that, oh, fear of cells or fear in cells. But if I hold it, that yes, it has happened, it can happen, it is my possibility. They're just holding on to it, it can be released. So yeah, that helps me make it more in my domain.
Yeah. And also that we get experiences. If that one aspiration has taken, even once it has happened in your being, that aspiration is there. So actually what happens is that life gives you those experiences through which you will actually begin to process it practically in your being. This I've seen it happen. I'm sure all of us must have our experiences where even once you had aspiration that, okay, one day I will understand this, and slowly life gives you all these experiences that you begin journey on the path towards understanding.
I have a silly story that many years ago, someone, I didn't know the work of Sri Aurobindo and Mother by that time, and someone gave me just a silly thing. You put it in your wrist, and you just make a desire. And by that time, I was reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He was a devotee of Kali. So, uh, so I, my desire was, I want to know the mother, right? And here I am. Like I believe that she, it was enough for her to, okay, to grant me that wish. A little silly detail, like, uh, yes, she's waiting for to give us everything. We just want to wish for it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Anything more here? Anyone? I think since we are at this exploration, this is what power of thought is about. जो अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं, it starts with a thought only that I want to know the mother one day. It's a thought. And just like that, we have 10,000 or maybe more, of course, infinite number of thoughts. And if we begin to actually see that how many times I have actually materialized what I wanted in my life, then we will also see that the negative things which are happening also in my life, they are also happening because of materialization of some thoughts some time I had, or like what you were sharing, that you were making mental negative constructions and again repeating it, giving it power, and then under the influence of that. So we actually, then it empowers us because we have so much of power that we misuse most of the times. And that is why taming the monkey mind is so important, because then it becomes misuse of the monkey mind. Either I can use it well, that if I know how to make constructions, why not make positive and good constructions? And if I also see that even my negative ones are actually leading me into a disease state, it means I can bring me out of myself also, out of the disease state. So it's a lot of empowerment when we see that these little thoughts here and there, like little dots that we don't even not notice, they do all the job while we are on the sleep. So to not remain sleeping is my reminder that I may not remain sleeping, and to whatever I'm thinking, it should be conscious. I should know what I'm thinking. And then when I get to know that what I'm thinking is a negative construction, what like Shardaji was sharing in the beginning, can I now transform it into a positive one, knowing that it has the possibility of materializing. All these things like a pencil, all these inventions around us, a book, a pencil, a laptop, it was all a thought in one's mind before all of it started, the process. Even a human being, how does it start? We start with a thought only most of the time.
It's intriguing that when I have thoughts, I get so busy in kind of getting into the sentimentality or emotionality of it, or the sadness of where I am, maybe, that I don't even see what I'm thinking. Like a friend, her children are now grown up, and she said it like 2 to 3 times over in different conversations that, nobody needs me now. No, nobody needs me now. And it was a passing thing, and yet there was a pain in that sentence. And then, her child got hurt really badly and was totally dependent on her for some time. And then I just reminded her, do you remember what you shared? And she was like, no. And I was like, this was something that you felt was painful, that nobody needs me now. And she was like, oh my God, like, this is what I said. But, it's like, this is not what I meant. And where do this happens because I'm not conscious, right? Like, I'm not seeing, like, nobody needs me now can be a very, very positive, like, delightful thing that, wow, nobody needs me now. So it's where I am and where I am taking it, and see, now this is God's grace that, see, now somebody needs you really badly. And then again, I further cry that, oh, my freedom is gone again. It was not supposed to happen. So don't know how the things connect, but I must be conscious of what I'm crying about or feeling sorry about or wanting, because things would happen, and then I would be like say now Juan, when he shared, I want to know Ma. For him, it probably at that time could be Ma Kali, and how it doesn't matter, and how beautifully he was able to see that Ma is Ma, right? And I'm understanding Ma. There could be somebody who would say, Arey, I wanted to know about that Ma. This is a different Ma. What is the universe doing, right? Like then I just get fully entangled in my own self-created meshes, not reaching anywhere. So that fluidity and that openness and awareness that what am I asking? And if I am asking, let me ask for the highest, right? So yeah.
I just feel that there should be one session on how to ask and what to ask, because that is such a key thing, really. And we don't know. I mean, I have found myself stuck at those moments where I have felt like the universe or the divine is literally asking me, what do you want? And I'm dumb. I'm dumbfounded and numb at that time, because usually we are like existing at such a surface level, and when that question goes very deep, we are hardly in touch with that deeper self. So we don't even know what it wants. And that if it and that can we if it asks for something, can my body and mind really execute it? Like what my soul wants, are my body and mind ready to collaborate with that and execute it? What my own soul wants, I mean, it's not even something that somebody else is telling me I want. What I want, are my other parts ready to be in tune with it?
Yeah. Yes, Chetna?
Yes, and I have one question here.
Mhm.
Suppose if I don't know what I want, so then can we, I mean, how do we pray then? Then can we pray that whatever the mother thinks is the highest good for us, may that happen? Are those the words? Or, I mean,
Yeah. I think what you just shared, of course, it may be different for different people in different phases of their life. But if you resonate with that, I don't know what is good for me, so I don't even know what to ask. But you know, so
yeah.
what you were
Mm,
sharing, sounds whatever is the, as Taru was sharing, the highest possibility in that particular moment, if we can be
mm.
aware of, and which would be different in different contexts and phases of our life. At all the
Yes.
times we may not be able to even actually come to this point that okay, I don't know what I want, but so I know that you will execute and show me the way. At times we are not in a position to even say that. So
Mm,
in that little moment, if that is not possible for me, at least take a little bit, wherever one can reach. There are
mm.
gradations in light also. So whatever gradation of light I can reach in that moment would be totally okay for me, true for me. And that's why Mother Sri Aurobindo never said that one formula can be given to any, everyone, because we are different people in our even, phases of our life, and different states of mind, states of being keep on changing. So one formula cannot be prescribed in every state.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you.
When we are talking about the power of thoughts, that's what we were just so, I am used to doing things in a special way, maybe. Everything I have a process. But like, what do I aspire for? What do I pray? What is my aim? I make things bigger than they need to be. So if I'm just saying that, I love the mother and the mother loves me, that's a prayer, that's an aspiration. Just maybe a sentence that one maybe can feel that may this birth not go waste. That's an aspiration. Everything doesn't need to be decked up and be that perfect thing. I mean, it's a work in progress, but anything that is coming to me, any curiosity, any aspiration is a prayer, is that okay, I want this, and that is
Bilkul.
enough.
Bilkul,
It's
bilkul.
enough.
Actually,
Yeah.
I've seen that there are such phases, even bad, such worst phases at times, that I'm not these things that you actually mentioned that may this birth not go waste. I'm not in a space to even go there. The only thing I can do is please save me. and and that helps. That helps. So as you rightly said, that whatever, in that particular moment, whatever, and it doesn't need any decoration whatsoever, because it's not to show off what I am praying. Whatever brings you out of that chaotic situation into some or the other degree of light is a good enough aspiration for me. Because these two lines what you shared in those states, where I go at that, they totally seem unreachable. I can't reach that this birth may not go waste. Nah, it is not there. There's too much of darkness. But one thing which I see is that I feel so helpless, and in that helplessness all my previous gyan knowledge, everything disappears for that particular phase or moment. And I say that please, 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 only you can save me, save. What should I do, what should I do? And that is, that maybe, I don't know what works, but something, something works. Yeah.
I remember when my mother was diagnosed, I had this such strong aspiration that, that may she be okay, may she be healed, may she be protected, may this be a miracle. I had such strong aspiration, and every time I used to read, and I used to really, this phase always came up quite a lot. Let thy will be done and not mine. And I remember I went to like, there was one of the very good sadhaks, fortunately near my house, and I remember I went to him and I said that, I'm not ready even for a second to accept let thy will be done and not mine. Because what if thy will is that mommy should go? I'm not ready for it. And he laughed, and like he told me, it's okay. It's good to have a will. That is why we go approach the divine if we have something. If we do not have something, why would we go? So you keep offering it to her. But just try not, मतलब he said कि जिद मत पकड़ लो उस एक चीज की. तो मैंने बोला मुझे तो बहुत जिद है, like I'm very, like I'm like very stubborn about it. He said that's also okay. If that's so, you tell her that too, that I want this only and I'm not ready to let go. And of course it didn't happen what I want. But what I realize now in hindsight is that she prepared me to see why it did not even happen. And I often felt that, divine mother or divine exactly works like how our parents work, but in a more magnificent way. That the mother wants to give us what we want if it is something that is going to take us towards the light or greater light. And she is not somebody who's saying, no, 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 your will not be done, my will be done. But it is that when we're not ready to see what is good, you know, then only she'll say very gently that, okay, you know, you want this, like you that day when Monica were telling about lollipop, that I know you want it, but it is not good for you. only that time. But if a child wants to say, Mommy, I want to learn, this new art, or this thing is going to come up, like a mother, she will arrange everything for that to happen, because that is going to take us towards the light. Something I've learned. The other thing that I also learned uh, from the Friday session, that we're reading, to have a will. It is sometimes good, not sometimes, but it is very essential to have our will too, and then give it to the divine, that look, I have this will, but I offer it to you. Otherwise, just without having a will and saying, it's a journey, of course, initially, if it's like that, it's okay. But I like what I realize, maybe I'm wrong in this, but it's that it's essential. Mother says it's very essential to have your own will, and then offer it to the divine and say that this is my will, but let thy will be done. That, because that is how we evolve. That's what I could make out from that session that we did with when Monica on the will part. So yeah, just on that.
Yeah. This, will thing that you are talking of, this is what we hear when Mother talks about the temporary use of ego individuality. But I think it doesn't mean that we will, as you were already sharing, that it doesn't mean that we need to have a stubbornness. But by effect of our ordinary consciousness, all of us have our stubbornnesses, and that is what we call egoistic consciousness. So Mother says that if you are coming to me and you say, I am offering you, right? When we talk of surrender. So I will ask, okay, what are you offering? So that's why she talks about a temporary individuality, that, okay, this is who I am a doctor, I have these kind of, skills, capacities, all of this. And now this is what I offer. So you are a temporary, well-formed individuality. And you have a strong opinion about this thing, that thing, what you were sharing, that I should have, something. And why she says that? Because this temporary individuality takes us away from the collective jelly like mass of opinions, है ना? मम्मी पापा ये कह रहे हैं, रिलेटिव्स ये कह रहे हैं, मेरे टीचर्स ये सोचते हैं, लेकिन एक्चुअली मुझे नहीं पता मैं क्या सोचती हूँ, है ना? सो मुझे पता है मैं क्या चाहती हूँ. That is what we mean by having a will, है ना? And when now we begin to know to have a will, that okay, this is what in this direction I would like to go. ना अब वो बात आती जो आप कह रहे थे, that to keep offering it because we don't know what is required for our growth. तो जिद है, what you rightly said, जिद है कि हमें इस डायरेक्शन में जाना है. And if you are conscious enough, we can begin offering. If we are not conscious, life will give us experiences where we will have to offer it. There would be no other, kind of option left. Because if it is not good for us, we will be given those experiences, and if it is going in the right direction, in a genuine direction, then we will, through an unfolding of life, will be taken forward in that direction. So before the formation of will, the talk of surrender cannot come. कि आप ऑफर भी कर रहे हो तो क्या ऑफर कर रहे हो? Jelly like mass cannot be offered. You have to be like offering what we offer to like divine. We offer रंगोली, है ना, कुछ सुंदर सा बना के हार चढ़ा देते हैं डिवाइन को. कुछ कुछ उसकी फॉर्म होती है. तो वो जो फॉर्म है वो हमारी इगोइस्टिक कॉन्शियसनेस की फॉर्म है जो बनी होती है. तो इट्स नाइस टू ऑफर दैट. Otherwise, Mother says at one point, what are you offering me? You have to be a formed individual that needs to be offered. So it's good to, I think it's from time to time, all these phases that we have, at times we know what we want, at times we don't know what we want. All these phases are just phases of life through which we grow. ऐसा नहीं है कि हमेशा हमें पता होना चाहिए क्या चाहिए, है ना, मतलब ऐसा कोई एक फॉर्मूला नहीं बना सकते उसको। हमेशा वी शुड बी विदाउट फियर, मतलब ऑफ कोर्स दैट्स द आइडियल स्टेट, बट राइट नाउ हु वी आर, we have to take that into account and we have to see that all these experiences are there to make us grow. तो कुछ भी गंदा और अच्छा नहीं है यहाँ पे। So yeah, this was, I think, we went a little tangent, but that's okay. So this was about touching the body consciousness and seeing that if we can work upon it, we can actually work upon it anytime, whenever we feel ready. At the moment we sense anything trembling in the body, any insecurity in the body consciousness, if we fear it, at that opportunity we take, because although we can do it discipline wise also, every day we can sit with the body and make a discipline to touch deeply, but I have felt that usually it is very nice to start with a very intense practical experience where you are undergoing some fear in the cells, and there you take it on the path, and that then can evolve into a gradual practice. क्योंकि अब ये हवा में बातें नहीं हो रही, आपने फील किया है उसको, है ना। तो अभी भी हम बैठ के तो एज इफ की वी कैन डू अ मेडिटेशन टचिंग द कॉन्शियसनेस ऑफ द बॉडी, है ना, कोई पॉइंट नहीं, लेकिन उसका पॉइंट नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर मुझे अभी वो बॉडी में वो बॉडी लेवल पे फील नहीं हो रहा है, आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू टच दैट डेप्थ एंड इंटेंसिटी विच विल बी हेल्पफुल। ऊपर ऊपर तक शैलो मेडिटेशन रह के वो रह जाएगा। So कभी भी ऐसा होता है instance when we face this fear in the body, if we are conscious, that oh, something trembled in the body, there if we are conscious and make it into a practice, transform it, take it on the path. Yeah, so I think maybe should not take it further today. It's already 8, and this much little bit of practice, if we can remember throughout the week, whoever wants to remember that whenever we see any fear, either in mental space, emotions, wherever, the moment we notice it, become conscious of it, we can take it on the path and transform it at all the levels, physical level, emotional level. There was one story that I was listening to and it was very inspiring, and I can somehow resonate with this when we are reading it. So he said that there was a fellow who lost his mother, and the only person with him was the father. And the father was also some practitioner of some sort, and he used to travel a lot, and all the time that kid used to be with the father, and he learned a lot. Like, he used to back upon the father, the father is the ground. Now one day father also dies, and the kid is now totally in grief, like what do I do, like there is no support. And very soon, after a few days of grief and sadness and intense suffering, he realizes that what is this state of being? It's so sad and intensely painful. And he chose for himself, the moment he became conscious of that state of being, he said, I don't want to have such a state in my life. And he did a sankalp. He said, from now on, I choose that I will never ever be sad in my life, because this is such a pathetic state to be in. And he did it for himself. So I was thinking that we actually, that's why mother says that we are weak in will, because ऐसा नहीं है that हमने वो संकल्प नहीं किए कि आगे से मैं कभी भी दुखी नहीं होऊंगा, but हम भूल जाते, we give in to some weakness or the other, and then we invite more and more dukha into our life. We forget that we chose once not to suffer anymore. I'm talking about my own self also when, I'm saying we. That I know this suffering, I have felt it so intensely in my bones, if I can say. And yet I forget it. That I made once a choice that I will never ever be sad and disappointed again. So if we can remind us of that sankalp or that aspiration and keep going back to it, that, oh, I made a choice. Let me be true to my choice. How beautiful. To never give in any way to those glitters and attractions that come, and through that slope dukha also comes, sloping with that slide. कि as if कि आपने वो बलून वाली स्लाइड नहीं होती, उसका इमेज आ रहा है मेरे दिमाग में कि आपने एक वो खोल दी ग्लिटर के आने के लिए कि आजा कुछ मिलेगा यहाँ से, सम प्रॉमिस दैट सिचुएशन होल्ड्स फॉर यू, एंड उसके पीछे पीछे स्लाइड करता हुआ पेन एंड सफरिंग भी आपकी लाइफ में उतर गया. स्लाइड खोलने की देर थी बस. So to not open these doorways again and again, that we actually in our forgetfulness keep on opening. As Sri Aurobindo says, this mortal man is his own biggest foe. Yeah. Yeah, any last comments? Anyone before we end?
Now, this week's prayer that you had taken up, that also very strongly was pointing towards the same thing, right? Where one said that one's duty, only duty is to not let oneself be troubled by anything, right? And how beautifully Mother had ended it with that do not torment thyself, child, like silence, peace, peace. Like again, that where all we go, where all we scatter, what all we think we need to do, and all those things are actually causing us misery, and we are doing it because we want to be happy. So in my quest for happiness, the miseries that I harbor, and then I say, Karu kya? And then she's saying, don't torment yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's end with a moment of silence, praying that may all of us, all the sentient beings, may we have the remembrance or the memory of not, or the will and the courage not to torment ourselves again and again, how we do. May all of us be true to this compassion to ourselves. May we not torment ourselves. And wherever we begin to torment because of our forgetfulness, may we become conscious and may we be able to transform it immediately. And sharing all the merit with unnumbered sentient beings.
Thank you.